Oh, okay, here we go. Have you found anybody?
Yes, would you like me to give you the stories? They were on Good Morning America.
Okay, so what did you find?
I mean, I don't want to, listen, I like your show. It's very entertaining.
You don't know me. You've never seen my show.
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you tell me the latest drop that I did?
I don't know what a drop is.
The latest video?
No, I've seen your show before. MISC, who does modeling on my show.
Can you help me understand? Just very simple. Just tell me.
Well, are you going to let me answer a question, or are you just going to talk over me and not let me answer? First of all, I do like your show, and what I've watched today, I think you're very entertaining.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that was the answer to your first question. Gloria, you want to answer to the cases that I've solved. First of all, I dealt with 3 different reporters on Rolling Stone magazine, which I believe did this article 7 months ago. And we did 2 more interviews. And by the way, I put the entire interview with Rolling Stone magazine unedited. And I'm not here to plug a channel. I'm not here to plug a channel. People know who I am. But here's the deal.
Go ahead.
You muted me?
Because I don't need you to plug your channel.
Okay.
We're talking about your channel. It's already plugged. Go ahead.
Here's the deal. I am not a true crime channel. Gloria Alvarado. And in fact, I'll wait, ma'am, while you look up the case. Gloria Alvarado was a Puerto Rican girl who went missing in Detroit over a year ago. It was on Good Morning America. I found her in less than 6. I am credited through the sheriff's department. Funny they didn't interview any cops in this article. First of all,
Can I just ask you a question?
I love the article.
Can you tell me, do you tell these people about your past when you offer your services?
Which past is that? The fact that I'm the oldest running and longest running pro football player in the country, where I went to school? What past are you referring to? My past is so relevant, is so easily found on YouTube. Just Google my name. There is nothing I won't talk about, nothing I haven't dealt with. Let me tell you why I love this. First of all, my phone has not stopped ringing this morning from other newspapers, PI magazines, newspapers, and cases that I've solved. You asked me a question and then you didn't acknowledge it. You asked me if there was any other cases that I've ever solved. I have yet to see you look up Gloria Alvarado. Do you want me to wait for you to look up that case?
I am not looking any. Let me tell you. Okay, so that's one case.
Anthony Smith in Boise, Idaho. Anthony Smith was a young man. And you could look this case up. In fact, the police in this case were interviewed by Rolling Stone magazine. Anthony Smith was a 17-year-old boy who was recruited by a white supremacy group in Bad Axe, Michigan. And I annoyed the white supremacy group. By the way, the same group that was later arrested for trying to overthrow the governor in Michigan. This is a hate group that he was brought into. The kid ended up being all tatted up. And basically, I annoyed the leader of this white supremacy group in Michigan so bad, they dropped the kid off at the police station. That part of the story. And that's documented. The guy that wrote the article on, his name was Anthony Smith. He went missing out of Boise, Idaho. On and on with the cases. I also do things, ma'am, that go missing to an RV, a $1 million comic book. So yes, all it takes is a simple search. And by the way, I've been in business 8 years. How many parents did dislike me in this article? 3. By the way, Candace Cooley was never my client. She was never my client. I was hired by the grandparents and the aunt of Dylan Rounds to find out information, not find the young man. I'm not in that state. To find out information about his life in that farm and his life in that community, so the information from me and not the mother, and that's well documented. So yeah, the mother doesn't like me because we found out that her son was in a relationship with a 60-year-old man, and being Mormons that upset.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you there. I can't let you. We're not gonna do that because that's your side. That's what you found allegedly, and I do respect the families. So yeah, I get heated when I read shit like this because number one, it's like, yo, I mean, let me ask you, the money that they're talking about, do you take people's money and then you just? So what did you do in the 2 weeks of that first case on the Easterlings?
Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Am I unmuted? Okay. So the one person that I want interviewed in the Easterling case was the sheriff. The sheriff in this case, where the son went missing, I worked diligently with. The problem is a lot of these families, and yes, I did call that newspaper reporter or interview lady. She was doing an interview with me on this family, and let me explain something to you. And I'm trying to be careful here because I don't want to offend your program.
I'm surprised because everybody in the chat is saying, "Hey, be careful, he's gonna get you." Da 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 da. So I guess you want to prove that differently.
No, I like your show. I mean, listen, you got to give me a chance.
I like your.
Look, can I ask what your background is? Because I'm not a YouTube guy and I don't run a true crime channel. If you watch my channel, 99.9%, we don't cover Kylie Rodney, we don't cover Jean Benet. I don't cover true crime at all. I will respond to these things, but
why do you reach out to families in need? Like, why do you reach? If you don't do true crime, I guess why do you reach out to offer your services?
During this period of private investigating work, which by the way, I am legally able to operate as a private investigator in 10 states. So take Mississippi out of it, Colorado. And by the way, I think you should go into private investigating. I've watched you. I think
don't stroke my ego, sir. I promise you, I can't be stroked. Go ahead.
I'm not stroking your ego. I'm being honest. Let me tell you why I think you would make a good private investigator and somebody like Queen Bee.
I want you to answer my question. Answer my question. What about the money?
Sure. The money. Which case? Which person?
$3,000 up front and then $1,500 later.
I charge all my family since I have started, and it's not just missing persons. I do recovery of missing things, cheating housewives. I'll do other stuff. Every case I've ever taken, I get 100% of the money up front. That's why it's less. And let me tell you why. Most private investigators in a case like that would be a $5,000 deposit, and they would charge $100 an hour until the $5,000 runs out. To me, that shows that they need to keep it going. I charge it and want to get it done as quick as possible. To me, that's more noble than I don't want to run a bill up. Because what's my motivation at $100 an hour to get it over with? As far as the Easterling case, anybody who had it or thinks that I built this family, which by case in 8 years that I ever didn't get up front, they screwed me. I actually started their case before I was paid up front, but that's okay. What did I do in the 2 weeks?
Was this a contract? Was this a contract? What do you mean they screwed you?
What do you mean a contract?
Well, did you sign a contract and it was...
They owe, yeah, I have paperwork that shows they still owe me $1,500, not only in text messages. And listen, in order for me to answer your questions, this is where it makes me look like the bad guy, which I'm fine being. In order for me to tell you why I didn't get that $1,500, it's going to make the family look really bad. They didn't give me $1,500 extra dollars that they still owed me for weeks, and if not, by the way, it wasn't 2 weeks. I worked on this case for a long time. The reason they didn't give me the $1,500 and I let it go was because they were trying. The Easterling boy has a young daughter that was in custody.
If it's going to defame, listen, let me stop you right there.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Let me stop you right there, because what I'm not going to allow you to do, they're not here to respond, but you're here to respond to the article, right? So my question is to you: if you are not a true crime channel, and that's not what you do, then why reach out to families when they are in need, especially in need of finding
my
answers?
YouTube channel, I think you're reading that wrong. My YouTube channel has never reached out to a family. I've only had a YouTube channel for like 9 months, maybe 10, and I don't even think we're a big channel. I definitely don't consider myself a YouTube star, and we're not a true crime channel. Watch my channel. We don't do any true crime at all. None, unless it's a response. Now, there was certain newspapers in cases that I'd solved cases. Let me give you an example. Gloria Alvarado, which you have not looked up yet, and I understand why it would kill your narrative.
No, it's not my narrative. I didn't write the article. It's the Rolling Stone.
You're asking me if I ever solved a case. I'm giving you cases that were on the news, but you don't want to show those. I can tell what side of the fence you're on, honey. So the deal is this.
Let me stop you. You stroke the ego. You stroke the ego, and then you say, I know what side of the fence you are. Look, I got people over here in the chat saying that you didn't find this Alvarez person, that the police did. What do you have to say to
Gloria
that?
Alvarado, look at the news articles. Don't listen to some moron in the chat room. Look at the newspaper articles and do you want me to play the video? Why don't you Google Gloria Alvarado, Jim Terry, and you look at what the mother said crying because a Puerto Rican, a 200-pound Puerto Rican girl could get breast. By the way, these families, Rounds and Easterling, should thank me right now because their children and their stories are now in the Rolling Stone magazine. Whether I'm a bad guy or not, what I do works. They're now in the Rolling Stone magazine. By the way, I've had magazine articles, ma'am, done on me on Sports Illustrated. I've been on Fox News, Howard Stern, you name it. I've been on it way before I did this. And my YouTube channel never reached out to anybody. A couple of newspapers called me. When I was working the Jed Hall case in Idaho, one of the newspapers up there called me and said, there's a boy named Dylan Rounds missing who does not have a strong licensing for private investigators. You should reach out to this family. I did. The parents were not interested in talking to anybody. They thought they could solve it on their case. By the way, still haven't been found. And the aunt and the grandparents called me. So when I reached out to them, a lot of times I talk to a lot of families and I give them free advice. Let me give you the advice I gave them, which is why they hired me. And I think this is something you would be good at because you're probably better at computers. A female private investigator is way better than men. Female private investigators.
All right, let me stop you right there. You're doing this little sexist something. Listen. So I have somebody here in the chat. Oh, I don't get triggered. Let me tell you, I don't get triggered. I promise you I don't. I promise you I don't. But somebody in the chat said he's referring to
me.
Oh no, I was triggered by the article. Now the behavior, if this is the shit, right? But if the shit is, if you're honestly contacting these families, offering your services, do you write a report for them? Do you do anything besides, like, what did you do?
Any family that wants a report on me could ask me for that report, and I would give it to them. Notice there's no families in there. Is there family in there that says I didn't give them a report? Is that in there?
No, but they're saying that you took their money and then you were gone after 2 or 3 weeks. It's like that was it. That was done.
Gone. I had to open up a YouTube channel in order to tell people I'm still here. Let me tell you why I love this article. Because before this article, I was called and they were documenting that I was a convicted felon. Not true. They said that I was a convicted sex offender and pedophile. Not true. They said I served time in prison and that I was an illegal private investigator. Not true. The reason that the Cooley, and you asked me how I reached out to them, and I'm trying to explain it to you, that there's people that contact me all the time. Do you know that my phone is nonstop ringing, not only from magazines and newspaper articles, but from people that want me to look for their missing kids? All this did was propel Jim Terry. There is no such thing as bad press. That's why I didn't mind coming on here. So yes, some of these families I did reach out to, but in 8 years, I have 3, maybe 4 families. One of these ladies was never mine. By the way, they had background checks on some of these parents. They had background checks on some of these people. I have been proven right in every case that is listed in there, whether they like the narrative or not.
How have you been proven right? Can you tell me, was there like additional besides you?
Which case?
How were you proven right?
Tell me which case.
Okay, let's talk about. All right, without getting into any defamatory type of details. Okay,
What do you
because I feel like that's.
What do you
Well, you're over here talking about Dylan Rounds and whatever. That is, you know what I'm saying? It's like the family's not here. I'm not going to repeat it, but I will.
No,
say that again.
Okay, was it the homosexuality that was defamatory?
No, it's just the family's not here to defend themselves. Okay. So why would I allow you to speak on them?
Not thinking that being a homosexual was defamatory. Obviously, you think me telling you that
let me stop you right there. I never said that. Do not twist my words, okay? Let me tell you this. And I want you to. I've dealt with people, okay? I want you to understand something. I'm in the business of people, so I know what I see, and I can see a snake when I see one too. You can't sell me a Pinto and tell me it's a Camaro, all right? That's how I see this, and I think it's very sad. Now, I'm reacting to the Rolling Stones article. I do think it's very shitty, and I would say that the Rolling Stones didn't just, I mean, are they conspiring to work against you? Is that what it is? What is it?
So the Rolling Stone article, there's no conspiracy here. You seem to think that this is a bad article for Jim Terry. When I tell you what this original article was, and we have the 3.5-hour interview with Rolling Stone, the original news lady in London, recorded, this is way different than the original article that was coming out. The original article that they did or were trying to do on me before I had them contact different people was that I was a sex offender, private investigator, that was a registered felon, that was bilking families all over the country. They purposely left out dozens and dozens of families, which I'm telling you, you could look up right now. Law enforcement has backed me in 3 of the cases that I've mentioned to you. As far as reaching out to families, it's called advertising. Some of these families I did reach out to, some of them are reaching out to me. My phone has been ringing off the hook this morning from families contacting me. Some cases I don't do.
Okay, so let me just say this. This is how good you are at what you do. I did not say that being gay is defamatory, but you got trolls over here.
You said, yes, you did. You said
I will not let you put out defamatory statements that we don't know.
What was defamatory? What did I say that was defamatory?
No, because you're not only talking about the victim, you're talking about the victim's families. And I don't know the ins and outs. I'm going by what the Rolling Stone article says. I don't think being gay makes them
defamatory. 3 things in private investigating, and I don't think anybody can argue this. And I don't know your background. I would love to know more about you.
Exactly. So this is why you don't know my channel, but go ahead.
No. I mean, listen, you know how many channels that are out there? I got a life. I'm still playing pro football. I mean, I've seen your channel and I like it. I've watched you more than I've watched a lot of other people. Do I know every intricate detail? No, but I will now. There are 3 things in a missing persons case. 3 things
I will now.
Come up in every case. Sexuality, okay, religion, and race. If you're a 200-pound black girl in Arkansas, you're not going to get the press that a 120-pound college girl gets. You're not going to get it.
Sir,
so it matters.
You're not telling me anything that I don't know.
Well,
you're not. I understand that.
That's why his sexuality is important. So when I went and the family said, Jim, find out everything you can about our son who was living in the desert from 17 to 19. This area that Dylan Rounds was living in, there's 220 people. 74 of them were registered sex offenders. I had to look and see why anybody would let a 17-year-old live in the desert by himself with those type of human beings. I wouldn't want you going there. So that was my first thing. Who was he living with? Who were his friends? Who was he with? And I had 61 interviews, 61 documented interviews that said he was living with a man named Kurt Watts, all out in the public sector. This is nothing new if you followed any of these cases. So I contacted that man. Why would a kid, good-looking 18-year-old kid, be living with a 60-year-old man who, by the way, his family has been arrested and done prison time for pedophilia? Why would that happen?
Stop. Oh, listen. No, it's not. It's just that they're not here to defend themselves. Whatever it is, whatever the hell it is that you say you found. And it's so sad. Let me tell you this. You have somebody here. If we don't know what the circumstances are. And number one,
I know what the circumstances are because I went to the case.
You don't.
You don't know what the circumstances are.
Sir, you lied. You took this family's money. Listen. Okay, and you took this family's money. Did you take these families' money and then promise them to only work on one case at a time, and then that's not even what you did? You worked on multiple? You are alive.
Is to get the money up front. Get all the money up front, and I didn't do that. So yes, in taking more than one case because I wasn't paid in full was the problem. I should never, you're right, I should have never ever took the Easterling case unless I was paid up front. Let me explain what it's like.
No. Sir.
Preschool on layaway, do you want to have it before Christmas? They don't give it to you. I should have never have worked. By the way, call the sheriff in the town that the Easterling son went missing on and ask him about the case. This is a family that told me that they didn't want me dealing.
You reached out to these families when they needed answers. You took advantage of that situation. You provided shit. That's what you did, sir. You provided nothing for them. You didn't do anything to them. Yes, I do. No, you provided them wrong information, and that is your tactic. And people like you need to be called out for the shit that they do. Okay? Crazy.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Oh, wow. All right, bye. You gotta go, sir. Bye. Have a good one. Thank you for coming up.
Are you tired? You look a little tired to me.
I'm an avatar. How do I look tired?
No, earlier you.
Oh my god. All right, go ahead and hang up. Go ahead and hang up. Yeah, all right, cool. Bye. What a fucking clown. Oh my god. Yeah, no slandering. But let me tell you guys something. Do you see the twist of words right there? And I'm so glad that he did that because it just showed his shit. I mean, he showed himself right there. I'm sorry, he did. Thank you. A train wreck, but makes me respect. I don't run from shit like this, but this man is a clown, you guys. I can't with you guys. Oh my god. Yeah. So he took money from them and said, "I will treat your case late." No, he took money and promised that he was going to prioritize their cases. That's what he did. He blames the family for their disappearances, okay? It's so sad to me. Practices as a PI from his residence in Florida with a single business license from Mississippi is illegal. The name of that is fraudulent practices in Gulf Coast investigations. He doesn't, oh no, he doesn't. That's why I had to say, I was like, listen, I'm not getting into some kind of conversation. Do you guys see the twist of words? Anything that comes out of this mouth, it does not matter to me. Let me be very clear. It should not matter what Dylan's sexuality was, but anything that comes out of this man is defamatory. The family's not here to defend Dylan or themselves or anything. This is why I don't believe anything that comes out. And for those trolls that were coming in here trying to twist the words, I don't know if he hired you for that. Okay. I just want to know, are you going to pay these families their money back? Are you going to give them their money back? Because that's a riff right there. Anybody can contact anybody's families at this point.